channel, Stories and Tales. And today I bring you another really interesting story. I love this story because it talks about family, love, and companionship, and particularly because the main character really loves reading books like me, and I hope like you too. Okay, so this story is one of the stories from a book titled The Tin Soldier and Other Stories. The story I'll be reading today is titled Sara Finds Emily. Right, so let me give you a quick background. Sara Crew is being sent to a boarding house, a boarding school in London, which is far away from home, but she's going because her father, Captain Crew, has to go to India on a mission. So we know that Sara and her father, Sara's boarding school is in London and it's run by a woman called Miss Minchin. That name sounds like Chin-Chin, Minchin, Chin-Chin. They rhyme. Okay, so let's get into the story. It's quite interesting. I'm not in the least anxious about her education, Captain Crew said, as he held Sara's hand and patted it. So I want you to do something for me as you listen to the story. There's some words you might hear that you might not know what it means. I want you to think about it and then ask someone, ask an adult later, Mommy, what does this mean? I think you can even pause the video and ask these questions, because one of the reasons we read is so that we can learn new words. So Captain Crew says he's not anxious about his daughter, about Sara, because she is a star. He says what will be difficult is trying to keep her from learning too fast, too much. Imagine that, because he now says she's always sitting in her room with her little nose burrowing into books. You know what it means to burrow? It's like when a rabbit or an animal is searching in the sand for food or for something. Drag her away from her books when she reads too much. Make her ride her pony or go out and buy a new doll. She ought to play with more dolls, Captain Crew said. Papa, if I went out and bought a new doll every few days, I should have more than I could be fond of. Dolls ought to be friends. Emily is going to be my friend. Captain Crew looked at Miss Minchin. Miss Minchin looked back at him. Who is Emily? Miss Minchin inquired. Well, tell her, Sara, Captain Crew said, smiling at her. Sara's grey eyes looked very solemn and quite soft as she answered. She's a doll I haven't got yet. She's a doll Papa is going to buy for me, and we are going out together to find her. I have called her Emily. She's going to be my friend when Papa is gone. I want her to talk to about him. This is so sweet, kids. So sweet, because I know many of us have dolls, right? But how many of you had a name for your doll before you got it? Yep, Emily does. No, Sara does, and Emily is the name of the doll she hasn't yet got. Oh, what an original child, Miss Minchin said. What a darling little creature. Yes, said Captain Crew, drawing Sara close. She's a darling little creature. And you take great care of her for me, Miss Minchin. Sara stayed with her father at his hotel for several days. In fact, she remained with him until he sailed away to India. They went out and they visited many big shops together, and at last they found Emily. But they went to a number of toy shops and looked at a great many dolls before they discovered her. I want her to look as if she wasn't a doll, really. I want her to look as if she listens when I talk to her. The trouble with dolls, Papa, the trouble with dolls is that they never seem to hear. That's Sara talking. She sounds so smart, don't you think so? So they looked at the big ones and the little ones. They looked at dolls with black eyes and dolls with blue. They looked at dolls with brown curls and dolls with golden braids. After a number of disappointments, they decided to walk and look in at the shop windows and let the cab follow them. They had passed 2 or 3 places without even going in when, as they were approaching a shop that was not a really large one, Sarah suddenly started and she clutched her father's arm. Papa! There's Emily! There's Emily! There was an expression in her green-grey eyes, as if she had just recognized someone she was fond of. She's actually waiting there for us. Let's go get her. Her father laughed and said, I feel as if we ought to have someone introduce us. You must introduce her. Introduce me and I will introduce you, said Sarah. But I knew her the minute I saw her. So perhaps she knew me too. Perhaps she had known her. I want you to take a look at Emily. This is Sarah, this is her dad, and this is Emily. I'm excited for Sarah, and it's not even my doll. Okay, let's keep listening to the story. The doll certainly had a very intelligent expression on her eyes. She was a large doll, but not too large to carry about easily. She had naturally curling golden brown hair, and her eyes are a deep, clear grey blue with soft, thick eyelashes, which were real eyelashes and not those mere painted lines. While listening to this story, I want you to touch your eyelashes first, okay? Of course, said Sarah. This is Emily, Papa. This is Emily. So Emily was bought and taken to a children's outfitter's shop and measured for a wardrobe as grand as Sarah's own. Oh my God. She had lace frocks and velvet and muslin ones. You know, you guys promised that you were going to look up some of these words, right? You should ask mom or check a dictionary because some of these words are words that were written in the olden days. So you might not understand them if you're just listening to me read them out. So basically, they went to dress Emily up, fitted her in clothes that were grand like Sarah's clothes. Sarah said, I want her to always look as if she was a child with a good mother. I'm her mother, though I'm going to make her a companion. Wow. Captain Crew would really have enjoyed the shopping tremendously, but a sad thought kept tugging at his heart. He got out of his bed in the middle of that night and went and stood looking down at Sarah, who lay asleep with Emily in her arms. Both of them had lace nightgowns and both had long eyelashes that lay curled up on their cheeks. Emily looked so real, like a child, that Captain Crew felt glad she was there. Hey ho, little Sarah, he said to himself. I don't believe you will know how much your daddy will miss you. The next day, Captain Crew took Sarah to Miss Minchin's. He was to sail away the next morning. Captain Crew went with Sarah into the sitting room. They bade each other goodbye. Sarah sat on his knee and looked long and hard at his face. Are you learning me by heart, little Sarah? He asked, stroking her hair. No, she answered. I know you by heart. You are inside my heart. And they hugged tightly as if they would never let each other go. I'm sorry to tell you guys that I'm actually tearing up right now while reading the story. I hope you enjoyed it and I look forward to seeing you next time on our channel. Bye.